Chapter 461 Everyone returns. The army is annihilated. When Fei Lao saw that Bing Huang had opened his eyes, he quickly stepped forward to inquire about his condition. Lord Ice Emperor, how are your injuries? The Ice Emperor's expression turned serious. The injuries are not serious, but the power of the rules is difficult to remove, which may delay the speed of advancing to the Dao ancestor level. The power of rules can only be gradually eroded by the long passage of time. It can only be eliminated by the intervention of a Dao ancestor. Suddenly, Fei Lao's eyes lit up. Your Majesty, since the place where that young friend Huang Sui is located has even creation-level treasures, it must also have treasures that can remove the power of rules. However, it's unclear how long it will be before they return this time. The Ice Emperor looked down at the dilapidated auction house and spoke in a cold voice. It should be soon. Ice Emperor looked at Elder Fei with a surprised expression, not quite understanding what the other party meant. In her opinion, Huang Sui and the others should become more cautious after witnessing the dangers of the Taiyuan Great World. Elder Fei slowly began to explain. Your Majesty, please don't forget the strange abilities those people possess. Even the Azure Origin Saint Lord couldn't do anything about them. And a glint of light flashed in Fei Lao's eyes. Moreover, I have a rough idea of what young friend Huang Sui is up to. The Shen Tian realm is a resource realm under the jurisdiction of the Qing Yuan Holy Land. The other party is probably using the resources of the Great World to help the Shen Tian realm advance. But Shen Tian can even produce creation-level treasures, so why would he need to rely on the Taiyuan Great World? Your Majesty, Shen Tian has a terrifying existence that even the Azure Origin Saint Lord cannot contend with. The resources of the desolate years must have been obtained from them, and to exchange for treasures, a large amount of resources are needed. The Ice Emperor suddenly realized that the Shen Tian beings had come to the Great World to earn resources. He whispered, the fact that the final treasure was taken by the Qingyuan Saint Lord is because our Qiyun Chamber of Commerce failed to protect it properly. We will compensate him with a top-grade chaos treasure later. Old Fei pondered for a moment. He wasn't against the Ice Emperor's decision. Now is the time for Qiyun Chamber of Commerce and Huang Sui to establish a good cooperative relationship, so it is natural to compensate the other party. Your Majesty, the Qiyun Merchant Guild does not possess any supreme chaos treasure comparable to the source of the heart lamp of all beings. The source of all beings' heart lamp is a treasure that can grow, enabling a faction to possess strength comparable to that of a Dao ancestor. Such a powerful treasure is not even found in the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce. You decide on the compensation. I'm leaving now. Yes. After the Ice Emperor left, Elder Fei looked at the devastated and chaotic scene below, a hint of helplessness flashing in his eyes. Meanwhile, the beings in the City of Desire who had been waiting in the square for the return of the celestial being were in complete uproar. Before they could even get excited, they saw the figure appear on the altar. The altar flashed a dazzling red light, and one by one, negative numbers representing losses appeared. Many creatures turned pale upon seeing this, their expressions turning somber. They invested all the resources they had accumulated over the years, and now it seems they have lost everything. As the gloomy-faced immortals gathered, a cacophony of voices arose in the plaza. What exactly happened? Is the great world really that terrifying? I don't know, there must have been some kind of accident. Fortunately, we had the Pengyun merchant ship to protect us, otherwise we might have suffered heavy losses. Sigh, I shouldn't have been in such a hurry. I have no resources left. Who isn't? I was originally planning to see what the immortal crystal looked like. People whispered among themselves, except for a few who had invested their resources in the famine, whose eyes still held a hint of expectation. But the next moment, cheers erupted from the crowd. Everyone looked up and, sure enough, saw the figure of the elder Huang Sui, as the altar emitted a seven-colored glow. The resources displayed shocked everyone. Even the immortal beings who had returned earlier were all gaping in astonishment. They knew perfectly well that the auction was not over yet, and even the top-grade chaos treasure had been snatched away by the Azure Origin Saint Lord. Logically speaking, the predecessor of the famine year should have suffered heavy losses as well. However, they did not know that Huang Sui possessed 10 low-grade source stones given to him by the Qiyun Merchant Guild. Of the immortal level beings who went to the Great World this time, except for senior Huang Sui, the entire army was wiped out, and none of them returned with any resources. Huang Sui nodded to the others beside him, then looked down at the creatures below. He looked up, and the room immediately fell silent. Fellow Taoists, there's no need to worry. It was just a minor accident that prevented us from bringing the resources back for the time being. And even if there are any losses, I will compensate you in full. After Huang Sui finished speaking, he waved to the other immortal level beings beside him and led everyone away. Upon receiving the promise from the famine-stricken area, cheers erupted from the crowd. Only those beings who gave their resources to other immortal beings looked on with envy. I felt a little regretful. They shouldn't be greedy for more profit-sharing and give away their accumulated resources to others. Inside the Muyun Pavilion, the Shen Tian immortals gathered once again. The expressions on everyone's faces were not good. They originally went to the Taiyuan Great World to earn resources, but they encountered so many unexpected events. Those who went to the Nine Heavens Chamber of Commerce in the first place suffered the most. They were all misled by the memory of the source of the image. They had just handed over the items to the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce for consignment auction when they were subsequently hunted down. They looked at each other, a wry smile appearing on their faces. If it weren't for the protection of the Pengyun merchant ship, they may never return. They will all be wiped out in the Taiyuan Great World. Huang Sui glanced at the Dragon Emperor and the others. He slowly opened his mouth. The Nine Heavens Chamber of Commerce belongs to the Qingyuan Holy Land, so Tu Yuan Tianzuan's memory is not wrong. As a core disciple of the Qingyuan Holy Land, Tu Yuan naturally has many preferential treatments, but we are different. Upon hearing Huang Sui's words, everyone suddenly realized what had happened. The memory is correct. It's their identities that are wrong. If they were also from the Qingyuan Holy Land, they naturally wouldn't be hunted down by the Nine Heavens Chamber of Commerce. After Huang Sui finished speaking, he looked at the others who were heading to the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce. You don't need to worry, the resources will not be lost. When you visit the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce next time, they will definitely compensate you in full. The others were startled, and their eyes lit up again. They brought all their belongings into the Taiyuan Great World this time, and they really can't afford to lose them. Really? Senior Huang Sui. Huang Sui nodded slightly, then looked up to stop the other person from continuing. You don't need to ask any more questions. Huang Sui was so certain that Qi Yun wouldn't embezzle everyone's resources because he had a cooperative relationship with the Qi Yun Chamber of Commerce. After briefly discussing some matters related to the Taiyuan Great World, Huang Sui concluded the meeting. Only Huang Sui and Shen Hong remained in the meeting room. Senior, is there anything you need me to do? I just wanted to ask for your opinion. Huang Sui waved his hand and said in a low voice, I didn't mention in the meeting that I had reached a cooperation agreement with the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce. Chapter 462 The Forgotten Efficacy of the Pengyun Token. Shen Hong's eyes flickered slightly. He hadn't expected that his senior's trip to the Great World would yield such a huge gain. He has also learned more about the wider world during this period. Qiyun Chamber of Commerce is the second largest chamber of commerce in Qingyuan Holy City. Shen Hong finally understood. No wonder Senior Huang Sui was so certain at the meeting that Qiyun Chamber of Commerce would compensate them. It turns out there was such a connection. But Shen Hong soon realized that since it was a collaboration, the other party must have some needs. He asked the question that had been bothering him. Senior, what does the other party want? A creation-level treasure. Shen Hong's eyes widened immediately. It was common knowledge that the Pengyun merchant ship contained a creation-level treasure, but no one had ever seen it before. It goes without saying that a huge amount of resources are needed to exchange for a creation-level treasure. Shen Hong frowned slightly and looked up at Huang Sui. Senior, this matter is too risky. What are your thoughts? Cooperate. There are too many strange methods in the great world. The secret that Senior Huang Sui and others were able to teleport back through the Pengyun merchant ship has been discovered. Going forward, who can guarantee that the other party will find a way to restrict them? A creation-level treasure is too valuable to be used to test someone's credibility. Reputation is worthless. He was aware of these famines, but now he could only trust that the Pengyun merchant ship's teleportation could guarantee their safety. Huang Sui opened his mouth, and a low-grade source stone appeared in his palm, emitting a hazy phantom. Shen Hong was immediately drawn to this object, as if he were witnessing the process of the world's evolution. What is this? A hint of shock flashed in Shen Hong's eyes. Origin stones are the essence of the world. Huang Sui's expression was complicated. The Qiun Chamber of Commerce gave me 10 in advance. This is Shen Tion's opportunity. After meeting the Holy Lord of Qingyuan, Huang Sui himself did not realize that he had become somewhat anxious. Even beings like the Ice Emperor were powerless to resist the Holy Lord. Shen Tian must complete his transformation within 10,000 years. Otherwise he will have no ability to face the great world after leaving the protection of the Pengyun merchant ship. Some risks must be taken. Now, I'll go see if I'm qualified to enter the 13th level of the exchange tower with these 10 low-grade source stones. Senior, it seems impossible to get in. Although Shen Hong did not know the value of the source stones, he was afraid that it would be difficult to exchange 10 low-grade source stones for a creation-level treasure. As expected, Huang Sui walked out of the exchange tower looking dejected. Then they went to the City of Desire and asked Elder Xing for advice. It was extremely difficult to see Zhou Yun and Uncle Zhou inside the Pengyun merchant ship. People usually ask Master Xing for advice when they encounter problems, hoping to get some information from him. Even things that don't need to be hidden, Elder Xing will tell you the truth. For example, we now know that Zhou Yun is in seclusion during this famine year. To meet Zhou Yun, one might have to wait until the Pengyun auction 10,000 years from now. Upon hearing the news, Huang Sui swayed slightly. Shen Tian had no time left. How could he wait another 10,000 years? Shen Hong's eyes lit up slightly. After realizing the dangers in the great world, he had been trying to find a solution. Now he has finally come up with a perfect solution. Senior, I have an idea. Huang Sui snapped out of his daze, looked at Shen Hong with a hint of curiosity in his eyes. Shen Hong slowly approached. Senior, this method allows Shen Tian to earn a large amount of resources, and he doesn't even have to return the 10 source stones he obtained from the Qiun Chamber of Commerce. Tell me in detail. He had always thought highly of Shen Hong. They can come up with ways to make money from time to time. The 10 low-grade source stones he possessed were a tremendous resource. He just checked inside the Pengyun merchant ship. 10 low-grade source stones are equivalent to 10 ordinary top-grade chaos treasures. With so many resources, it's impossible to enter the 13th floor of the exchange tower. It's easy to imagine how many resources would be needed to exchange for a creation-level treasure. Huang Sui's mood became extremely heavy after he was unable to enter. He realized that it would be extremely difficult for Shen Tian to advance to the Great World level within 10,000 years. Shen Tian has no powerful backer in the Great World. He originally thought that the Qiun Chamber of Commerce could be a powerful backer, but the other party could only bow and scrape before the Holy Lord. Shen Tianxing wanted to resell the items from the Pengyun merchant ship in the Great World, but he had to rely on others. Otherwise, with their group of Xiuxian and Tianxian, they would eventually be devoured by the people of the Great World. Huang Sui wanted to create a Dao ancestor so that the Shen Tian Tianling could become a powerful backer in the Great World, and the Qiun Chamber of Commerce was the best choice. What's troubling him now is that he can't get into the 13th floor of the exchange tower. Shen Hong's voice rang out, waking Huang Sui. Senior, we can sell the Pengyun Token. We can sell it to them for 10 or 20 low-grade source stones. Shen Hong made a startling statement, saying something that Huang Sui had never thought of, and even the other beings in Shen Tian had never considered. It's unclear when exactly, but the true value of the Pengyun Token has been gradually forgotten. This is a treasure that can transport living beings to the Pengyun merchant ship. This extraordinary item once stirred up a bloody storm in Xiantian. Huang Sui looked dazed. It seemed that ever since the auction of Pengyun tokens began, more and more Pengyun tokens had been circulating in the market, reducing their value to only a few million top-grade spirit stones per token. Pengyun is no longer valuable, but it is still not something that ordinary beings can buy. Only cultivators at the Mahayana or tribulation transcending levels with abundant resources are able to purchase it. However, with the Pengyun merchant ship now fully open, Xiantian beings no longer need the Pengyun token to enter. This caused Pengyunling's figure to be even more forgotten. But for those beings from the outside world, the Pengyun token remains the most precious item, because they can only enter the Pengyun merchant ship by using the Pengyun token. Ha ha ha. Huang Sui laughed excitedly and patted Shen Hong on the shoulder. That's right, this is indeed a good idea. I only need to give the other party a Pengyun token. As for what treasures the other party wants, they can exchange them themselves on the Pengyun merchant ship. I'm glad I could help you, Senior. Shen Hong has always been grateful for years of famine. If it weren't for the other party's help, he might still be in the tribulation transcending realm right now. I'll go buy the Pengyun token first and send it to the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce. When Xiantian undergoes its transformation in the future, I will definitely not treat you unfairly. Shen Hong bowed deeply and said, Thank you, Senior. Watching Huang Sui's departing figure, and waiting for the others to react, they should also realize that the Pengyun token was being sold. But before witnessing the wonders of the Pengyun merchant ship, how many people could believe in the value of the Pengyun token and prove its authenticity? Shen Hong made this suggestion. This was also based on the premise that Senior Huang Sui and Qiyun Chamber of Commerce reached a cooperation agreement. Otherwise, if you want the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce to believe in the effectiveness of the Pengyun token and that it can help them exchange for a creation-level treasure, then you need to. There's a high chance they'll think I'm crazy. The Pengyun token should not be forgotten. Shen Hong looked up at the sky and murmured to himself. Chapter 463 The Famine Year's Decision. Qiyun's Attitude. The creatures aboard the Pengyun merchant ship caused a stir upon seeing Senior Huang Sui re-enter the altar. Why has Senior Huang Sui gone to the Great World again? Yeah, didn't we just get back? Besides, the Great World is too dangerous, so it's better to be cautious. I don't understand. I just want to know when I'll get my share of spirit stones. What's the rush? Senior Huang Sui, would you be shortchanged? The many creatures whispered among themselves. Not only them, but even the other immortal beings were unaware of why Senior Huang Sui was in such a hurry to go to the Great World. Perhaps only Mu Jinbao among those present guessed the reason. After all, Huang Sui's Pengyun token was purchased from him. Pengyun Order. Mu Jinbao surveyed the creatures in the field. As the manager of Muyun Pavilion, he could clearly sense the decrease in the number of Xiantian Pengyun tokens. Because the Pengyun merchant ship is permanently stationed in the eastern region, Xiantian Tianling no longer needs to use the Pengyun token to enter the Pengyun merchant ship, and its reliance on the Pengyun token is also decreasing. Everyone exchanged the Pengyun tokens they had obtained for cultivation resources. After all, even if the price of the Pengyun token is low, it is still a huge fortune for many living beings. Moreover, the Pengyun token has a lifespan of only 100 years. Many living beings cannot accumulate this many resources in their entire lives. However, those foreign creatures can only enter the Pengyun merchant ship by relying on the Pengyun token. Most of the Pengyun tokens of Muyun Pavilion were also exchanged by beings from the outside world, causing the number of Pengyun tokens in the Xiantian world to decrease continuously. Sigh. Mu Jinbao sighed. Perhaps these people won't realize the importance of the Pengyun token until the Pengyun merchant ships leave the Xiantian realm. Mu Jinbao turned and left. He couldn't control what the other living beings thought. However, the Mu family will always keep a Pengyun token, because they know that the Pengyun token will be the only connection between the Mu family and the Pengyun merchant ship in the future. Qingyuan Holy City. The door to the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce's appraisal room was pushed open, and old Fei, who was appraising the items, looked up with displeasure. Don't they know to knock? Before he could finish speaking, he stood up excitedly upon seeing the person who had arrived and rose to greet them. Young friend in this famine year. I'm sorry to bother you, senior. Not at all, I won't bother you. Old Fei tidied the table. I just didn't expect my young friend Huang Sui to return so soon. After tidying up briefly, he smiled and said, Please sit down. The two sat facing each other, and Fei Lao took the opportunity to send a message to the Ice Emperor. This young friend is crucial to whether the Ice Emperor can advance to the Dao Ancestor level, so he dared not neglect him. He was also a little anxious, wanting to know if the other party had brought back good news, but since the Ice Emperor had not yet arrived, he suppressed his curiosity. He took out his tea set and began to brew the spiritual tea. Huang Sui sat quietly to the side, reaching out to touch the Pengyun Token in his arms, a faint excitement in his heart. If we can really use the Pengyun Token to exchange for resources from the other party. In addition, there were the top-grade chaos treasures that were auctioned previously. That means half of the resources needed for Shen Tion's transformation have been gathered. But he had another worry in his heart. That means that once the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce obtains the Pengyun Token, they will no longer need them. The Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce can use the Pengyun Token to exchange for a large number of treasures on the Pengyun merchant ship. The Pengyun Token flowing into the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce also foreshadows that it will be more difficult for Shen Tianling to enter the Great World and resell items. They might even have no choice but to leave Qingyuan Holy City and resell their wares in other territories. Therefore, Huang Sui wanted the other party to give him a promise. His original idea was to help the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce have the existence of a Dao ancestor, so that it could become Xuantian's support. Instead of waiting until the other party possesses the Dao ancestor and then abandoning them. A moment later, the Ice Emperor appeared, and the temperature in the room immediately dropped significantly. Even though the Ice Emperor had concealed his aura, the very existence of the Immortal Emperor could still influence the surrounding area. Ice Emperor nodded to Huang Sui and sat down to one side. She was just there to listen. The main exchange was naturally left to Professor Fei. Elder Fei bowed slightly to the Ice Emperor. Then he poured spiritual tea for the two of them. After everything was settled, he asked softly, Young friend from Huang Sui, did you bring back any good news? Huang Sui shook his head slightly. I still can't get into the 13th floor. I wonder if there are any items you need inside. The two were taken aback, their expressions showing some disappointment. Elder Fei frowned slightly. He had originally given Huang Sui 10 low-grade source stones so that Huang Sui could go in and see if there were any items they needed. In retrospect, it seems he had oversimplified things. 10 low-grade source stones were certainly not enough to exchange for a creation-level item, but he didn't expect that he wouldn't even have the right to take a look at it. Mr. Fei had never been to the Pengyun merchant ship and was unaware of the conditions for entering the exchange tower. Only those who reach a certain level of spiritual cultivation can enter the corresponding floor of the exchange tower. Alternatively, you may possess resources that can be exchanged for items on the corresponding floor. The famine year met neither of these criteria. It lacked both strength and resources. How could anyone possibly get in? He was aware of these famine years, but he didn't tell the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce back then. Moreover, at that time, Huang Sui was not in a hurry to help the other party exchange the money. He only planned to go in and take a look. He thought he could get in as long as Zhou Yun made an exception, but he didn't expect Zhou Yun to be in seclusion. He didn't even see him. Looking back now, Huang Sui realizes that his ideas were too naive. Young Master Zhou is the master of Pengyun. Why should I be allowed to go in and take a look? Pengyun merchant ship has its own set of rules, and it cannot be open to him alone. Pengyun merchant ship has already helped Shen Tian too much. He cannot make excessive demands. Fortunately, Shen Hong gave him another solution. Selling the Pengyun Token. Looking back on his transaction with Pengyun merchant ships, Huang Sui realized he had really gotten a great deal from them. He exchanged only 100 drops of his immortal level essence blood and 1/10 of his immortal origin for the Pengyun merchant ship's 10,000-year-old treasure. Especially after entering the Taiyuan Great World, I heard that the Qingyuan Saint Lord was injured. Huang Sui had a feeling that this matter was related to Pengyun. Pengyun is a being even more powerful than the Holy Lord. How could he possibly make a deal with the other party with mere immortal essence blood? This is clearly Pengyun merchant ship taking care of Xientian. Suddenly, Fei Lao's voice rang in his ears, interrupting Huang Sui's distracting thoughts. Young friend Huang Sui, these are the resources you obtained from the auction at the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce. Here are 11 low-grade source stones for you. Take account. Huang Sui's eyes flickered slightly, and he subconsciously took the source stone. Looking at the stone floating in his palm, emanating a rich primal power, he was deeply moved. He had learned about the value of low-grade source stones while on Pengyun's merchant ship. One low-grade source stone is equivalent to 100 million high-grade spirit stones, which can be exchanged for a common high-grade chaos treasure. These 11 low-grade source stones are actually 11 top-grade chaos treasures. My trust in Qiyun has grown even stronger. He increasingly felt that cooperating with the other party was the right thing to do, and at the same time, his concerns about giving the Pengyun Token to the other party also decreased a lot. This incident shows that the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce did not mistreat him. Chapter 464. Neither side has a choice. The source of all beings' heart lamp is, after all, a treasure that grows with age, capable of unleashing the power of the Tao ancestor. But it's not a true creation-level treasure after all. After much deliberation, Elder Fei decided to give the other party 10 low-grade source stones. Moreover, none of the other auction items during the barren year contained a single low-grade source stone, but they still managed to make up a round number. Next, the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce will have further cooperation with the other party, which is something that Mr. Fei needs to consider. My friend, in this famine year, Master Fei asked with a smile, what conditions are needed to know information about a creation-level treasure? Fei Lao had no idea about the 13th level that Huang Sui mentioned. They were unaware even of the terrifying being behind Xientian. Those at the Tao ancestor realm may possess resources capable of exchanging for creation-level treasures. As the words about the famine ended, Ice Emperor and Fei Lao were both taken aback. These conditions were indeed harsh. Old Fei glanced at the Ice Emperor. No wonder this young friend Huang Sui didn't even have the qualifications to enter. However, considering the powerful effects of a creation-level treasure, Elder Fei secretly expressed his understanding. Just like the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce, each floor contains treasures of different grades, and there are also very high restrictions. We can't just let any being below the immortal level enter the top floor of the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce and watch freely. This will cause trouble for customers who genuinely want to buy items. Lord Ice King. Fei Lao secretly transmitted his voice to Bing Huang. Should we provide some resources to our friend Huang Sui so that he can enter the 13th floor and take a look? The Ice Emperor frowned slightly and did not answer immediately. Although the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce does not possess any creation-level treasures, as a Chamber of Commerce, it is not lacking in resources. She was confident that she could exchange her resources for a creation-level treasure. But it is destined that some items will be unavailable even if you have the resources to buy them. A creation-level treasure is one that cannot be purchased even if you possess the resources. When Fei Lao saw that Bing Huang did not reply, he also sensed the worry in the other party's heart. He was also afraid that Huang Sui had run away with the resources. Such a large loss of resources is something even the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce cannot afford. He did consider using some spells from the oath to restrain the other party, but then he thought about the other party's strange methods of escaping from the Tao ancestor. This idea was immediately dispelled. This is indeed a difficult matter. Silence fell over the room. Huang Sui waited for a moment, then looked up at the Ice Emperor and Elder Fei. I can take you directly to the Xientian realm, and even into the place where you can exchange treasures. You can exchange them yourselves. What? Old Fei exclaimed in surprise. Ice Emperor stood up excitedly, staring directly at Huang Sui, his body flashing with blue light, making the temperature in the room drop even lower. Huang Sui shivered in the biting cold. The Ice Emperor realized he had lost his composure and restrained his aura. Nodding apologetically to Huang Sui, "I'm sorry." "It's nothing." Huang Sui quickly returned the greeting. The Ice Emperor was a celestial emperor, and the reason the other party treated him so politely was entirely because of the information he could provide, not because of his strength. If he were just an ordinary living being, in the eyes of the other party, he would be nothing more than an ant that could be crushed at will. Mr. Fei smiled and said, "Sit down, everyone, sit down and let's talk." I was naturally happy to hear some good news. "Young friend Huang Sui, what is the method you mentioned? Or what are the conditions? Please tell us. As long as the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce can do it, we will definitely not refuse." Huang Sui pondered for a moment, then looked up at the Ice Emperor. Seeing this, Fei Lao did not say much. After all, there were some things that only the Ice Emperor could decide. First, this item is worth 20 low-grade source stones. The Ice Emperor's expression remained unchanged. However, Elder Fei frowned slightly, wondering if what the other party said was true. This treasure can indeed allow them to enter that mysterious place and exchange for a creation-level treasure. It's certainly not expensive. It's equivalent to using 20 low-grade source stones to buy a clue to a creation-level treasure. Huang Sui breathed a slight sigh of relief when he saw that the two of them did not refute him. He knew he had asked for too much. After all, on the Pengyun merchant ship, the Pengyun Token is only worth a few hundred top-grade spirit stones. But this is the great world of Taiyuan. Moreover, Huang Sui believed that the Pengyun Token could never be obtained by exchanging resources. If the Pengyun merchant ship remains closed to the public, the Pengyun Token will be priceless. After gathering his thoughts, Huang Sui continued. Secondly, once the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce possesses a Dao ancestor, it must help the Xiantian realm advance to a great world. Elder Fei interjected. Then how can we help Xiantian? Should we just provide resources? Huang Sui shook his head slightly. Now, with the source stones he exchanged with the Pengyun tokens, plus what he had collected before, he has gathered most of them. Just help Xiantian sell his items. The main thing is to ensure our safety when selling items in the Taiyuan Great World, so that the same thing as last time doesn't happen again. Call. Professor Fei let out a soft breath. He was genuinely worried that the famine year would make excessive demands. If we were to actually ask them to contribute resources to help the Xiantian realm advance to a great world, it would likely require investing a creation-level treasure. Lord Ice Emperor also needs to exchange for treasures that grant the power of healing rules, and he also needs to exchange for creation-level treasures to advance to the Dao ancestor level. No matter how many resources the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce has, it can't withstand this kind of consumption. Of course, now that our Qiyun Chamber of Commerce has reached a cooperation agreement with you, we will naturally not forget our roots. Rest assured. A trace of Daoist aura flashed around the Ice Emperor, and his clear, cold voice rang out. I swear that once I ascend to the Dao ancestor level, I will definitely protect the safety of the items that you, Shen Tianxing, sell at the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce, and I will never let what happened last time happen again. Lord Ice Emperor. Elder Fei's expression changed drastically. He tried to stop him, but it was too late. The oath of the Great Dao has been fulfilled, and a booming sound of the Great Dao resounded in everyone's ears. Outside, within the Qingyuan Holy City, countless beings looked up at the sky. At the Nine Heavens Chamber of Commerce, Emperor Wanbao came to the window. Who initiated the oath of the Great Dao? With a premonition in his heart, he looked towards the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce across the street. Wanbao Dijuan has never had any goodwill towards his competitors. Originally, I wanted to use the Holy Lord's hand to eliminate the other party last time, but the mistakes the other party made were not serious enough. He always felt that keeping the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce around was a disaster, but he couldn't do anything about the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce on his own. On the other hand, Huang Sui had no idea what the Ice Emperor had done, but seeing how nervous Professor Fei was, I began to believe him a little. I hope the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce will keep its promise, he said, reaching into his robes. In this famine-stricken year, there were no other options, and Xientian had no time to spare. He could only trust the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce. Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce will definitely keep its promise. Ice Emperor nodded in response. After what happened last time, the Ice Emperor's desire for the Dao Ancestor grew even stronger. Their only hope for advancing to the Dao Ancestor realm lies with the existence behind Huang Sui. People who had no other choice met at this very moment by sheer coincidence. Chapter 465 Pengyun Order. The Ice Emperor arrives. A token appeared in Huang Sui's palm. It was utterly ordinary, showing no spiritual essence whatsoever. Huang Sui naturally noticed the doubt in their eyes, but he could understand it. Without knowing about the Pengyun merchant ship, it was easy to mistake the Pengyun token for an ordinary token. Give. Huang Sui didn't say much, and ran towards the Ice Emperor with the token. A beam of blue light caught it, and the Ice Emperor focused his gaze on the token. Apart from a lifelike image of a treasure ship, the token had no spiritual charm or luster whatsoever. Old Fei also craned his neck to look around. This. Old Fei turned to look at Huang Sui. How could such an ordinary token be exchanged for 20 low-grade source stones? Could they be being deceived? Huang Sui ignored Fei Lao's gaze and said, Lord Ice Emperor, would you like to try to exert some strength? Ice Emperor's eyes flashed. This token felt like it would shatter with the slightest force. She had been extremely careful before, only using her celestial energy to support it. But upon hearing Huang Sui's words, blue ice crystals appeared in his palm and spread towards the token. The next moment, both Ice Emperor and Fei Lao widened their eyes. How is this possible? Old Fei exclaimed in surprise as he looked at the undamaged token. At the same time, the doubts in their eyes about the famine completely disappeared at this moment. The Ice Emperor is an immortal celestial being. Her power of law can freeze everything, turning everything into dust in an instant. But this seemingly ordinary token withstood the attack. Mr. Fei realized that this token might really be a rare treasure. The blue light in the Ice Emperor's palm dissipated, and he looked at the token in his hand, a hint of excitement hidden in his eyes. What Professor Fei could think of, she naturally thought of as well. Moreover, the token resonated even more deeply with her in her hands. She had a strong intuition that this token was her destiny. The two looked up at Huang Sui at the same time, wanting him to explain what the token was. This is the Pengyun Token. Huang Sui's voice slowly rang out. It can take you onto the Pengyun merchant ship. Pengyun merchant ship. The Ice Emperor murmured to himself. Elder Fei, standing nearby, murmured. It must be an unknown entity behind the Xientian realm. Both of them had their own guesses, but neither of them expected that the unknown entity behind the Xientian Ho was a ship. Huang Sui glanced at the two of them. The Pengyun merchant ship contains billions of treasures. You can exchange anything you want for it. Upon hearing this, their eyes blazed with intense heat. The Ice Emperor gripped the token tightly in his hand, eager to head to the Pengyun merchant ship. Then, Huang Sui introduced some information about the Pengyun merchant ship to the two of them. After listening, Elder Fei exclaimed, Xientian is truly blessed with incredible luck, to have the good fortune to encounter the Pengyun merchant ship. Yes, Huang Sui replied. It is precisely because of the Pengyun merchant ship that the Xientian realm has the opportunity to change its fate. The Ice Emperor stood up and looked at Huang Sui with an extremely solemn expression. Xiuxian Merchant Guild will not forget its promise. I'll be leaving now. Elder Fei will give you source stones later. After Ice Emperor finished speaking, his figure was enveloped in blue light and disappeared from the room. Old Fei, standing nearby, chuckled and joked. Lord Ice Emperor must be in a hurry to get to the Pengyun merchant ship. If I didn't only have one Pengyun token, I would love to go with the Ice Emperor to see that mysterious Pengyun merchant ship. Huang Sui paused upon hearing this, and hesitated for a moment. Elder Fei actually, The Pengyun Token can be purchased on the Pengyun merchant ship for only a few million top-grade spirit stones. The famine was not concealed. Because once the Ice Emperor goes to the Pengyun merchant ship, these things cannot be kept secret. Upon hearing this, Mr. Fei's eyes widened. Millions of top-grade spirit stones. But then he sighed, took out 20 low-grade source stones from his pocket, and handed them to Huang Sui. This is what young friend Huang Sui deserves. After all, you brought the first Pengyun token, otherwise we would not have been able to go to the Pengyun merchant ship. Thank you, senior. Huang Sui accepted the originium, his heart filled with a subtle excitement. The plan to elevate Xian Tian to the great world is now halfway complete. Next, all we need to do is wait for the Ice Emperor to advance to the Dao ancestor level, and with his help, we can harvest resources in the Taiyuan Great World. It will surely be able to transform Xian Tian within 10,000 years. Afterwards, the two chatted for a while before Huang Sui chose to leave. Before leaving, Huang Sui exchanged 3 low-grade source stones for a large number of immortal crystals at the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce. Low-grade immortal crystals, mid-grade immortal crystals, high-grade immortal crystals, and top-grade immortal crystals. Mr. Fei was puzzled by the practice of handling the famine, but he did not ask too many questions. Huang Sui now possesses a total of 31 low-grade source stones. In accordance with the original agreement, he will take out 3 source stones to distribute to Xian Tian Tianling. Although most of these resources are unrelated to the Xian Tian spirits. The top-grade chaos treasure that he exchanged for 10 origin stones was obtained through his own savings, and the Pengyun token had nothing to do with them. However, the famine-stricken year still chose to distribute its resources. He hoped that the strength of Xian Tian's beings would increase, and that they would undergo a transformation together with Xian Tian. In the City of Desire, the 7-colored altar radiates dazzling 7-colored light, illuminating the entire space. All the creatures within the City of Desire looked up. His face was filled with shock. Immediately, a cheer echoed through the space. It's Senior Huang Sui returning. I wonder how many resources he brought back. Immortal crystals? I wonder what immortal crystals look like. I should have given the resources to Senior Huang Sui. I regret it now. This should be Senior Huang Sui's own resources. The resources we offer will not cause such an anomaly. The many creatures whispered among themselves. There are also those who are clear-headed. The resources they offer might only be enough to exchange for some chaos treasures, which certainly wouldn't cause such an anomaly. This may be the resources of the elder Huang Sui himself. Even so, many living beings were extremely excited. Even those immortal beings were shocked by the resources brought back by Senior Huang Sui. Everyone's attention was drawn to the barren year, and they did not notice that a woman in an ice-blue dress appeared on the black altar in the square. A grey mist swirled around him. Is this the Pengyun merchant ship? It's not what I imagined. Ice Emperor looked up and saw Huang Sui's figure, realizing that he had not come to the wrong place. The Ice Emperor arrived in a hurry and randomly selected the black pattern after activating the Pengyun token. Huang Sui stood on the altar, looking down at the creatures below, his voice resounding throughout the entire area. Everyone, those who have contributed resources, can go to Muyun Pavilion to receive their share. A cheer erupted from the crowd. Just as Huang Sui was about to step down from the altar, his gaze fell upon the figure on the black altar. Although the opponent was shrouded in grey mist, he had a strong feeling that the opponent was the Ice Emperor. As soon as Huang Sui landed on the square, Shen Hong came to greet him with a big smile on his face. Welcome back, Senior. Huang Sui smiled and nodded, then greeted the other immortal-level beings. He brought Shen Hong to the Ice Emperor's side. Greetings, Lord Ice Emperor. Shen Hong looked at the figure in front of him with a surprised expression, and a guess formed in his mind. Chapter 466 Exchange Tower, 13th floor. Ice Emperor, isn't that the owner of the Qiyun Merchant Guild? Just as he was lost in thought, his arm was pulled by Senior Huang Sui. He hurriedly bowed and said, Shen Hong greets the Ice Emperor. Ice Emperor nodded softly in response. After looking around the City of Desire, my gaze fell on the black tower next to it. Is this the exchange tower you mentioned? No, Lord Ice Emperor. Then Huang Sui gave Ice Emperor a brief explanation of the situation in Pengyun space. Then, pulling Shen Hong aside, he said, "This young man is extremely intelligent. How about letting him lead the Ice Emperor around the Pengyun space and give him a casual introduction?" The Ice Emperor did not refuse and nodded slightly. Shen Hong immediately stepped forward and said excitedly, "I am extremely familiar with the Pengyun space. You can ask me anything, Ice Emperor." Shen Hong knew that this was an opportunity that Lord Huang Sui had earned for him, so he naturally couldn't miss it. Follow the Ice Emperor closely and do not neglect him, Huang Sui instructed Shen Hong. He also wanted to hand over the resources to the Muyun Pavilion so that the Muyun Pavilion could calculate how many resources each creature that contributed resources could receive. Yes. Shen Hong patted his chest and assured him. Huang Sui bowed to the Ice Emperor and said, "Then I'll go and get back to work." After Huang Sui left, the Ice Emperor looked at Shen Hong. "What level of cultivation are you at?" Shen Hong was taken aback and subconsciously replied, "Just advanced to human immortal." The Ice Emperor took out 10 crystals and handed them to Shen Hong. "This is for your directions." The surface of the crystal was shrouded in a rich aura of immortal energy, much richer than any low-grade immortal crystal he had ever seen before. Shen Hong's eyes lit up. He hadn't expected to reap the benefits so quickly. He respectfully accepted it with both hands, feeling its warm touch, and a hint of excitement flashed in his eyes. "Impressionly, Your Majesty, what grade of immortal crystal is this?" Top-grade immortal crystals can help you increase your cultivation speed and strengthen your foundation. "Thank you, Ice Emperor. Take me to the exchange tower." "Okay." They then left the place. But ever since the famine began, this place has become the focus of attention for many living beings. They were filled with curiosity about the figure shrouded in grey mist, and even Senior Huang Sui treated that person with such respect. Upon seeing the immortal crystals the other party had taken out, her eyes widened in envy. A low murmur of discussion filled the auction hall. "Wow, you can get fairy crystals just by leading the way. I want one too." "Didn't you hear that? That was a top-grade immortal crystal. 10 top-grade immortal crystals are equivalent to 10 million low-grade immortal crystals. That's incredibly generous. That's enough to buy a supreme innate treasure, and they're just giving it away like that." Many creatures looked on with envy, all wanting to take Shen Hong's place. Only a few immortal-level beings were present, and they guessed that the other party might come from the Taiyuan Great World. The only way for people in the Great World to enter the Pengyun merchant ship is by relying on the Pengyun Token. This forgotten treasure gradually resurfaced in their minds. The Pengyun Token may not have much value in the current Shention, but it is priceless in the Great World. Many immortal beings had different thoughts in their hearts. They began to quietly slip away from the crowd and head towards Muyun Pavilion. "Although I haven't figured out how to sell it yet, I'll buy the Pengyun Token first." Pengyun merchant ship, within the Peach Blossom Paradise. When Shen Hong brought the Ice Emperor here, a peaceful and serene atmosphere, completely different from that of the City of Desire, immediately enveloped them. The Ice Emperor's eyes flickered slightly, and he immediately spotted the towering tower. "Is that the exchange tower?" "That's right, Senior Ice Emperor." Shen Hong explained respectfully. "The exchange tower has 13 floors, divided according to the rank of the treasures." Shen Hong looked at the exchange tower not far away. The creation-level treasure that Senior needs is on the 13th floor, and no living being has been able to enter it so far. Ice Emperor glanced at Shen Hong with surprise. "I didn't expect the other party to know my needs. It seems that my relationship with Huang Sui is indeed quite good." "Then I'll go take a look." "Yes, I will wait here for you, sir." Ice Emperor strode towards the exchange tower, sensing the wonder of the Pengyun merchant ship the moment he stepped inside. It actually prevented her from exerting any spiritual power. All these amazing things made her even more curious and excited about Pengyun merchant ship. First floor, second floor, 10th floor, 11th floor, 12th floor. As he walked through each floor, the Ice Emperor was completely awestruck. A merchant ship located in a small world actually possessed more treasures than the Xiuxian Merchant Guild. She wouldn't have believed it at all if she hadn't seen it with her own eyes. How could such an existence only stay in the Xian realm? A look of doubt flashed in the Ice Emperor's eyes. Then he looked up at the 13th floor, his eyes burning with intense heat. Now, she had no doubt whatsoever that the Pengyun merchant ship must contain a treasure that would allow her to advance in her cultivation level. Arriving before the 13th layer of light curtain, the Ice Emperor took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and stepped inside. The light barrier did not prevent her from entering. The Ice Emperor breathed a slight sigh of relief, realizing that the resources she brought could be exchanged for a creation-level treasure. Slowly opening his eyes, a hazy, chaotic aura filled the space. The space here is much smaller than below, and there are more than a dozen purple-gold orbs of light in the mist. Are all of these creation-level treasures? The Ice Emperor's pupils contracted sharply as he stared at the drifting purple-gold light. These creation-level treasures, which are extremely rare even in the Great World, actually number more than a dozen in the Pengyun space. He swallowed hard and strode towards the purple-gold light. As she reached out and touched them, information about one creation-level treasure after another appeared before her eyes. Time Rule. Low-grade creation-level treasure, Time Sand Glass Bottle. The Fundamental Rules of the World, a mid-grade creation-level treasure, the Origin Sea of Return to Nothingness. The Law of Cause and Effect, a low-grade creation-level treasure, the Cause and Effect Spindle. The Rules of Life, a low-grade creation-level treasure, the Jade Dew of Creation. Each one was extremely powerful, making her extremely envious. But the Ice Queen always kept her purpose in mind. What she needed was a treasure to help her break through to the Tao ancestor level. With the current resources of the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce, they might only be able to exchange for one low-grade creation-level treasure. There were no extra resources for her to use. After seeing the treasures inside the Pengyun merchant ship, they also realized why the Xian spirit was taking the treasures to the Great World to earn resources. The treasures inside the Pengyun merchant ship are so comprehensive. You can find everything you need in the exchange tower. Even some extremely rare chaos treasures, when brought to the Great World, are a complete dimensional reduction attack. She also began to consider reselling the treasures from the Pengyun merchant ship. Suddenly, she remembered the two conditions she had set during the famine. Among them was the one who helped Xian advance to the Great World. She didn't quite understand before, but now she's figured it out. If the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce gets involved, they will resell goods from the Pengyun merchant ship. How could a being born from the mysterious heavens possibly compete with it? Suddenly, the Ice Emperor stopped in his tracks. A golden glint flashed in his eyes as he looked at the object before him. Chapter 467 The Myriad Tribulations Returning to Origin Pill. The Ice Emperor obtains a treasure, bonus chapter. Excitement flashed in the Ice Emperor's eyes, and his body trembled slightly. His face was reflected with a hazy, indistinct glow by what was before him. A pill with 9 layers of light on its surface was spinning rapidly, as if the birth and death of the universe and the cycle of countless eons were emerging, with thousands of laws and Taoist principles flowing around it, all forming this divine pill. Upon seeing the information about the pills that appeared before her, she knew that this was exactly what she needed. Item: Myriad Tribulations Return to Origin Pill. Type: Chaos Divine Pill. Rank: Low-grade Creation Treasure. Effects: 9 Tribulations Rebirth. After a living being consumes this elixir, it can trigger the simultaneous outbreak of the next 9 great tribulations, and the chaotic energy within the elixir can be used to weaken the tribulations. When the Tao injury returns to its origin, during the tribulation, all the residual damage in the body and the damage suffered during the tribulation are completely restored and transformed into chaotic energy. Only through the reshaping of one's true self and traversing countless realms can one perceive the true self of the great Tao, completely severing past karmic ties. One then ascends to the realm of the Tao ancestor, transcending the universe. Details: the myriad tribulations returning to origin pill is both a blessing and a calamity. It is a breakthrough item for beings to advance to the Tao ancestor realm. The myriad tribulations return to origin pill. Breakthrough realms through tribulations. The Ice Emperor's eyes flashed, and he waved his hand to lift up the divine pill. The divine pill possesses the power of chaotic rules, capable of giving rise to all things. No wonder it can help living beings break through their current state. This was her first time encountering a creation-level treasure, and she couldn't help but marvel at its power. Truly, one Dan, one ancestor. This is the brilliance that only a creation-level treasure can achieve. Within the great world of Taiyuan, there are only a few Tao ancestors, but numerous immortal emperors. It's not that they can't advance to the Tao ancestor level, but rather that there is indeed an opportunity for them. Now, her opportunity has arrived. The myriad tribulations returning to origin pill is extremely suitable for her, as it can directly trigger a heavenly tribulation, allowing her to break through to the next realm and become an ancestor. During the tribulation, the myriad tribulations returning to origin pill not only weakens the heavenly tribulation but also continuously repairs injuries, greatly increasing her chances of successfully passing the tribulation. With the help of the myriad tribulations returning to origin pill, the rule-related injuries caused by the Azure Origin Saint Lord within his body no longer need to be addressed. Compared to the injuries from the heavenly tribulation, the little bit of rule power remaining in Pengyun Saint Lord was nothing at all. During the tribulation, the effects of the myriad tribulations returning to origin pill will repair the body. The Ice Emperor was eager to obtain the divine pill, but the words, "not exchangeable," caught his eye. Ice Emperor stood frozen in place, his mind reeling as if struck by a giant hammer. In his dazed state, his body swayed precariously. Hope appeared before them, only to be extinguished in an instant. Why can't I redeem it? After a moment, the Ice Emperor gradually calmed down. It must be possible to exchange for it, otherwise Huang Sui would have told her. There must be some limitations involved, which she didn't understand. He took a deep look at the myriad tribulations returning to origin pill, reluctantly withdrew his gaze, and turned to leave the exchange tower. Xian Hong had been waiting outside for the Ice Emperor when suddenly his view was blocked. Upon noticing the visitor, he asked with concern, "Lord Ice Emperor, is there anything you need inside?" "Have." Suppressing his excitement, the Ice Emperor asked softly, "Is there a way to exchange for it?" Xian Hong was taken aback, then realized that he hadn't told the Ice Emperor about the exchange requirements for the exchange tower. Xian Hong sometimes found the rules set by Pengyun merchant ship quite strange. Why not just exchange them directly with spirit stones, immortal crystals, or source stones? Why insist on converting them into Pengyun points first, and then offering items of a lower tier? Xian Hong shook his head slightly, clearing his mind of distracting thoughts. "I'm sorry, Ice Emperor, I failed to explain Pengyun's information to you clearly," Xian Hong said apologetically. Ice Emperor waved his hand. "It's all right, I didn't ask anyway. Just tell me the details of your exchange requirements." After a moment of contemplation, Xian Hong explained in detail the requirements for exchanging Pengyun. First, you need to exchange for Pengyun points. Second, offer an item of a lower tier than the item you are exchanging for to make up for the difference in resources. After the introduction, Xian Hong sighed with emotion. "Your Majesty the Ice Emperor is quite lucky. These are the new rules set by Pengyun merchant ship. In the past, treasures of the 7th rank and above could not be exchanged and could only be obtained through Pengyun auction." The Ice Emperor's expression shifted slightly. The Pengyun auction house. I've heard Huang Sui mention it once before. However, all she wants now is to get her hands on the myriad tribulations returning to origin pill. "Okay, I'll go exchange for Pengyun points first, and I won't treat you badly afterward." "Your Majesty, please go ahead with your work. This is all I should do." The Ice Emperor entered the exchange jade tablet inside the reception area. During the exchange, My tense state of mind relaxed slightly. Pengyun's rules were indeed peculiar. An item had to be offered in exchange. In exchange for the myriad tribulations returning to Origin Pill, she would have to offer a top-grade chaos treasure. Fortunately, the myriad tribulations returning to Origin Pill is a low-grade creation-level treasure. Otherwise, thinking about this, a sense of lingering fear rose in my heart. Exchanging for a creation-level treasure is indeed no easy feat. After quickly exchanging the items, the Ice Emperor reappeared on the 13th floor of the exchange tower. After checking the price of the myriad tribulations return to Origin Pill, a thought struck him. Is this the price of a creation-level treasure? About 300 low-grade source stones. In Ice Emperor's opinion, this price is not expensive. Because in the Taiyuan Great World, creation-level treasures are priceless and cannot be obtained through resources. Although originium is precious, being a condensation of the world's origin, it can ultimately be obtained by harvesting the world and can be found somewhere. However, creation-level treasures are extremely rare. Even if the price of the myriad realms returning to Origin Pill was several times higher, the living beings would probably not refuse it. No living being can resist the temptation of becoming a Dao ancestor. He took out a top-grade chaos treasure and used Pengyun points to exchange it for pills. The divine pill detached from the purple gold light cluster and floated in the palm of the hand. The moment they made contact, a heavy feeling came from their hands, as if they were holding not a pill, but an entire world. The myriad tribulations returned to Origin Pill. The Ice Emperor murmured softly. His eyes gleamed with a blue light, revealing the excitement in his heart. With a flick of his wrist, he put away the myriad tribulations returning to Origin Pill. The purpose of this trip to Pengyun merchant ship has been achieved, but it has also depleted the foundation of Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce. This resource, comparable to 300 low-grade source stones, is the result of countless years of accumulation by the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce. However, she didn't care. Even if she doesn't use these resources, they will eventually be squeezed dry by the Qingyuan Holy Land. As long as the Xiuxian Chamber of Commerce does not have a Dao ancestor, it will forever be subject to resource demands from the Qingyuan Holy Land. Moreover, as long as she becomes the Dao ancestor, with the help of the Pengyun Token, we can bring Pengyun merchant ship resources to the Taiyuan Great World for sale. Why would we be afraid of lacking resources? Strength and skill level are the fundamental factors. Without strong protection, even the most massive buildings constructed with vast resources are just castles in the air and can be easily toppled. Approaching Xian Hong, she told him that she had already redeemed the items. Xian Hong was secretly alarmed. A creation-level treasure. This senior was actually able to acquire it. Although he didn't know the value of a creation-level treasure, he figured it would require a huge amount of resources. Chapter 468 Dividing Immortal Crystals. Wang Nianzu's Good Fortune. Congratulations, Ice Emperor. Xian Hong wishes you a speedy ascension to Dao Ancestor. Dao Ancestor. Xian Hong thought to himself, secretly alarmed. A hint of envy flashed deep in his eyes. He wondered if he would ever have the chance to reach that point. The Ice Emperor was in an excellent mood after obtaining the myriad tribulations returning to Origin Pill. A stone radiating brilliant light was tossed towards Xian Hong. Although all resources were used up after exchanging for the myriad tribulations returning to Origin Pill, I could still take out one origin stone. Practice diligently, little one. Feeling the rich power of the world's origin in the stone in his hand, Xian Hong was secretly delighted. Thank you, Ice Emperor. Tell Huang Sui for me that Qigyun merchant ship will not forget its promise. After saying this, the Ice Emperor activated the Pengyun Token and left the Pengyun merchant ship. Now, she is eager to advance to the Dao Ancestor realm. Xian Hong gripped the source stone in his hand, his gaze falling on the spot where the Ice Emperor had disappeared. He knew that what the Ice Emperor had just said must have been the condition for cooperation between the other party and Senior Huang Sui. Xian Hong had some guesses in his mind. Meanwhile, in the City of Desire, Many of the Xientian beings have already received immortal crystals from the Muyun Pavilion. Because Huang Sui gave away all the resources that belonged to him and those earned with the Pengyun Token, everyone received a considerable amount. Many beings who received the immortal crystals were extremely excited. Immortal crystals, treasures that can only be nurtured in the great world, have now appeared in their hands. Depending on the resources invested initially, the amount of immortal crystals each person received varied. I just went to Muyun Pavilion to inquire, and it is said that Senior Huang Sui took out the immortal crystals he earned so that we could get so much. Everyone had already guessed this. That's right. The resources we've contributed might only be enough to exchange for some chaos treasures on the Pengyun merchant ship. Fortunately, we chose Senior Huang Sui. Those beings who did not choose Senior Huang Sui are filled with regret. The discussion was heated. Some wanted to keep a piece of the immortal crystal for cultivation, while others wanted to put the immortal crystal back into it. In the square, UK and Qianhuan stood together. I never imagined that acquiring resources could be so simple, without having to pay any price, Qianhuan exclaimed. She received a total of 100,000 low-grade immortal crystals this time, which is equivalent to 10 trillion high-grade spirit stones. This is Senior Huang Sui's way of using everyone's strength to help Xientian advance to the great world. This is our opportunity. Then let's put these immortal crystals in again. Qianhuan's eyes gleamed. She was determined to seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, although she has no ambition and only wants to maintain the status quo. However, if everyone else is making progress, then one day the Thousand Illusions Tower will be surpassed by other forces. UK nodded gently. He had long planned to do this. If his own strength weren't so low, he would have liked to go and see the Taiyuan Great World. Suddenly, UK turned to look at Qianhuan. Lord Qianhuan, this is a time of transformation for Xientian, which concerns all living beings in Xientian. What are your plans? Qianhuan was taken aback, looking into Yuk's cold and stern eyes. She knew exactly what UK wanted to say. If you want to take it a step further, now is the best time. I won't go. Thousand Illusion Tower has enough of you all. Thousand Illusion shook her head slightly. After I go back, I will inform others that if anyone wants to venture out, they can leave Thousand Illusion Tower on their own. Qianhuan looked into the distance. As long as you are here, Qianhuan Tower will always exist. UK did not say anything more. Actually, being in the southern region isn't so bad. Although the southern region is still relatively barren now, it will eventually become a rich land suitable for cultivation as Xientian advances. This will inevitably lead to conflict. No matter where you are, resource-rich regions have always belonged only to the strong. However, just as Lord Qianhuan said, they are still there in the Thousand Illusions Tower. 3 female cultivators were gathered together in the crowd. The 3 figures, one pink, one red, and one blue, were none other than Xiao Hong, Mei Nu, and Shi Yu. The skeleton stood quietly behind the enchantress, like a guard. Sister, I never expected to get so many fairy crystals. Little Red said excitedly. This time, she invested all her resources and received a total of 1 billion low-grade immortal crystals. The resources she originally obtained through the auction of the Pengyun Token have been depleted after years of cultivation. Now it has become prosperous again in an instant. Yes, I didn't expect that either. Shi Yu's expression was complicated. The resources she now possessed were perhaps comparable to those of the former Wanxiong Tianheng Palace. This is an opportunity for the 2 younger sisters. The elder sister is not one of the Xientian people, so she doesn't have such luck. Senior Huang Sui wanted to enhance the strength of the entire Xientian, so naturally he excluded the beings from other worlds. Nowadays, apart from Xiao Honghong, they all have shops on Pengyun merchant ship, using their unique physical characteristics to earn Pengyun points. Shi Yu sells spiritual water to remove the influence of desire, Mei Nu sells desire crystals to temper the mind, and Bai Gu sells weapons made from animal bones. The enchantress turned to look at Little Red. Little Red sister, now that you have resources, you should still go to the exchange tower to explore more and see if you can buy some rare and precious materials to awaken a special physique. Xiu advised, yes, using our special abilities to earn Pengyun points on the Pengyun merchant ship is the best long-term solution. Xiao Hong felt a warmth in her heart. Since meeting Xiu, she had truly experienced the care and concern of others. Thank you, both of you. That's exactly what I was thinking too. Xiu pulled Xiao Hong's hand. However, don't worry, we can still invest more resources. It's not too late to exchange for the treasure you want after you find it. Hee hee hee. The three chatted idly, their laughter ringing out like silver bells. Only the skeleton behind the enchantress secretly rolled its eyes, finding the three women exceptionally noisy. Inside the second floor of the Tower of Desire. In one place, a large number of people gathered. In front of the sampling machine, there was a figure shrouded in grey mist. Through the mist, you could see a chubby little boy, Wang Nianzu. The creatures around held their breath, intently watching the constantly rotating pattern on the lottery machine. Suddenly, a bright white light appeared above the machine, and a white fawn leaped out, crying out to the sky. Yo! The clear call of a deer echoed throughout the space, drawing the attention of numerous creatures. Their faces were filled with shock. They couldn't even remember how many times the other had won the lottery, and their eyes were full of envy. The crowd that had gathered to watch the spectacle erupted in cheers. That's amazing. That's incredible luck. I already drew a supreme innate treasure before, and now I've drawn the Lord of all spirits. I've drawn quite a few treasures of tier 7 or higher before. They've come directly to Pengyun merchant ship to collect treasures. At the entrance to the second floor, Elder Xing and Uncle Zhou stood together, their eyes fixed on the person surrounded by a large group of figures. There's definitely something strange about this. Uncle Zhou said softly. Chapter 469 3000 Years. Pengyun Advances. Uncle Zhou also suddenly received a message from Elder Xing, saying that the Tower of Desire had encountered an anomaly. Old Xing stood aside and asked, how should we handle this situation? Uncle Zhou pondered for a moment. This kind of thing shouldn't have happened in theory. He guessed that the other party must possess some kind of special physique, but being inside the Pengyun merchant ship, even the most powerful special physique would be suppressed and unable to exert its effects. Uncle Zhou hadn't figured out how to handle it either. Of course, we can't kick them out or restrict their participation in the lottery now. I don't know, let's wait until the young master finishes his seclusion. Well, although the other party was lucky, their odds of winning were only slightly higher than the average person. It wasn't anything too outrageous. Elder Xing looked at Wang Nianzhu and said, I didn't notice before, that's why I notified you. It's nothing serious. This just means the other person's constitution is also limited. Ignore it. Ahead, Wang Nianzhu suddenly stood up and stretched. This is so boring, I'm going upstairs to take a look. The onlookers behind him exchanged bewildered glances. Is this the boredom of winning too many prizes? They also wanted to experience what the other person felt. At this moment, a voice came from within the space. Everyone, hurry to Muyun Pavilion to distribute the immortal crystals. The creatures in the arena were immediately alarmed. They hadn't expected to be able to share in the immortal crystals so quickly. They all ran outside. Wang Nianzhu, who was about to head to the upper level of the Tower of Desire, stopped in his tracks. He was very interested in the immortal crystals. He had invested all the treasures he had ever seen. With his extraordinary physique, the resources he provides are comparable to those of an immortal. Presumably, they will be able to get a considerable amount of immortal crystals. He twirled the Pengyun Token in his hand and followed the crowd toward the Muyun Pavilion. After seeing Wang Nianzhu leave, Uncle Zhou turned to look at Elder Xing. I will explain the situation to the young master later. I'll be leaving now. After Uncle Zhou left, Elder Xing also returned to the dark room he was guarding. This wasn't a big deal. It was just a strange little thing. Time flies by during this period. The other immortal level beings also retrieved the resources they had obtained from the last auction from the Qiun Chamber of Commerce. Things turned out exactly as Senior Huang Sui had predicted. The Qiun Chamber of Commerce did not find a reason to refuse to provide them with resources. Afterwards, Huang Sui and his group once again entered the Taiyuan Great World to resell Pengyun resources. This time, however, the Qiun Chamber of Commerce did not hold an auction, nor did it allow them to choose to consign their items for auction. Instead, they directly purchased their items. Then, the Qiun Chamber of Commerce took the goods and dispersed them to other regions for sale. Although this way we earn far fewer resources and it's more troublesome, at least our safety is guaranteed, and the same thing that happened last time won't happen again. Qiun Chamber of Commerce also deliberately kept a low profile, and in the face of competition with Zhouqian Chamber of Commerce, it was patient and chose to back down. This period is the most crucial time for the Qiun Chamber of Commerce. Only Elder Fei knew that the Ice Emperor had already left Qingyuan Holy City and gone to a secluded place to break through to the Dao Ancestor level. All that's needed is for Lord Ice Emperor to return as the Dao Ancestor, and all the difficulties facing the Qiun Chamber of Commerce will be resolved. Since I heard from Huang Sui that a Pengyun Token only costs a few million top-grade spirit stones, Mr. Fei also paid out of his own pocket to buy one from Huang Sui. He also wanted to see the mysterious Pengyun merchant ship. When the Ice Emperor returned, everything he told him deeply shocked him. Thousands of chaos treasures and more than a dozen creation-level treasures. Everything about Pengyun merchant ship was beyond his imagination. With the resources and foundation of Pengyun merchant ship, it is probably greater than the entire Taiyuan Great World combined. An existence more terrifying than anything forbidden. Recalling the information he gathered from the Qingyuan Holy Land, one can only marvel that only such a being could possess such miraculous abilities. He was fortunate to have encountered a famine year. The Pengyun Chamber of Commerce presents a tremendous opportunity for both the Qiun Chamber of Commerce and the Ice Emperor. 3,000 years later. On this day, inside the Pengyun merchant ship, countless rays of light rose from the void, and even the aura of desire in the City of Desire converged towards the Coral Sea of Desire. At the heart of the coral reef in the Sea of Desire, a swaying, seven-colored flower bud shimmers with spiritual light. It seems to be opening slightly. Numerous beings gazed at the Taoist aura manifesting in the void, their eyes filled with astonishment. With a sudden contraction, the whole world seemed to tremble. At the distant, unseen edge of the world, countless inscriptions of laws appear, intertwining to form the world's barrier. What's going on? Does anyone know? I don't know. You'd better seize the opportunity to comprehend the laws. Yes, this is an opportunity. The laws are so clearly reflected before our eyes. It seems that Pengyun merchant ship has undergone a great change this time, but I can't quite put my finger on what has changed. Numerous beings sat cross-legged, their bodies emanating a radiant aura of Tao. Although their eyes were closed, the laws of the void seemed to be deeply engraved in their minds, allowing them to comprehend them. This is an opportunity even more extraordinary than sudden enlightenment. Only those at the celestial immortal level or above vaguely sense the changes in the Pengyun merchant ship. That is a kind of world sublimation. Amidst his shock, a thought surfaced in his mind. Pengyun world has been upgraded to a great world. Below, Huang Sui's expression was extremely complicated. Pengyun merchant ships grew too fast. The goal he had been pursuing was easily achieved by the other party. He shook his head inwardly. How could I possibly compare to Pengyun merchant ships? Nowadays, whether they are natural beings or alien beings, they all have a guess about the Pengyun merchant ship. Pengyun merchant shipping has never been about rapid growth. It's more like a recovery. To retrace the glorious path once again. Presumably, Pengyun merchant ship was once a pinnacle existence among all the heavens and myriad worlds. For some unknown reason, it suffered a severe blow. That's how I fell into the small world of Xiantian. The beings of Xiantian were grateful that the Pengyun merchant ship could appear in Xiantian, while the beings of the other worlds marveled at Xuantian's good fortune. Such an unfathomable and mysterious being has appeared in the Shen Tian world by sheer coincidence. This is truly an opportunity from the Shen Tian realm. Huang Sui was grateful to Pengyun merchant ship. Therefore, he was extremely happy to see Pengyun merchant ship transform into a vast world. I believe you will definitely return to your peak. He always knew that the Pengyun merchant ship did not belong to Shen Tian, but to all the heavens and myriad worlds. Only the endless void of the universe could contain an existence like the Pengyun merchant ship. What he needs to do is seize the opportunity to develop while the Pengyun merchant ship is still in the Shen Tian realm. Over the past 3,000 years, due to the low profile of the Qiyun Chamber of Commerce, it has not collected many resources. However, the famine year is known. All of this is temporary. We only need to wait for the Ice Emperor to break through to the Dao ancestor level. That will be Shen Tian's chance. With a Daoist patriarch as his backer, Shen Tian is sure to rise to prominence. In one fell swoop, the Shen Tian realm was propelled to the top. Now, all he needs to do is wait quietly. Waiting for that gust of wind to come. Chapter 470 Wang Nianzu, Backlash of Luck, Bonus Chapter. As the strange phenomena in Pengyun space disappeared, Zhou Yun finally ended his seclusion. Uncle Zhou had already been waiting outside the door the moment the strange phenomenon appeared. Upon seeing Zhou Yun, he greeted him with a smile. "Greetings, young master." Uncle Zhou looked Zhou Yun up and down. He saw that Zhou Yun seemed to be one with the surrounding space, as if he himself was a world. He knew that this transformation of Pengyun merchant ship had made his young master even more powerful. Uncle Zhou's smile grew even brighter. The stronger the young master is, the safer he is. "Long time no see, you've worked hard these past few days," Zhou Yun said softly. "This is what this old servant should do." The two sat down in the small courtyard, where Uncle Zhou had already prepared tea. While pouring tea for Zhou Yun, she thought of the situation inside the Tower of Desire and whispered, "Young master, a chubby boy has arrived at the Tower of Desire. He has amazing luck and has won the lottery one after another. Why can't Pengyun merchant ship suppress his luck?" Uncle Zhou asked the question that had been troubling him for a long time. Zhou Yun took the tea and slowly drank it. After hearing what Uncle Zhou had told me, the image of Wang Nianzu came to mind. That little guy already possessed a lucky constitution and even obtained the myriad origin Dao fruit at an auction. Presumably, one's physical condition has changed dramatically by now. Having transformed into a top-tier lucky physique, it's no wonder he's been able to win prizes repeatedly in the Tower of Desire. Thinking of Wang Nianzu, Zhou Yun recalled that he had also obtained a key from him that could lead to the heavenly treasury. "If you have the chance, you could go and take a look. This is normal." Zhou Yun put down his teacup and looked at Uncle Zhou slowly. The other party possesses a blessed constitution and amazing personal fortune. The Pengyun merchant ship can naturally suppress him, but the unseen fortune still accompanies him, and his luck will be better than that of ordinary beings. Uncle Zhou nodded secretly to himself. He had also guessed these things before. It's likely that if it weren't for the suppression by Pengyun merchant ships, the other side might have emptied Pengyun merchant ships in 3,000 years. Currently, the other party's luck is only slightly better than that of ordinary beings. It's not too outrageous. Don't worry about him. This situation isn't enough to affect Pengyun merchant ship, and Zhou Yun's lips curled into a strange smile. Seeing this, Uncle Zhou, who was standing nearby, suddenly shivered. That chubby kid might be in trouble. Zhou Yun twirled the teacup in his hand and looked at Uncle Zhou. "How long has the other party been in the Tower of Desire?" "For 3,000 years. I have remained within the Tower of Desire. In total, I have acquired 5 chaos treasures, over 100 chaos spiritual treasures, and countless innate treasures and items below the immortal level." Thinking of this, Uncle Zhou couldn't help but feel secretly alarmed. Although he stopped paying attention to the chubby boy, he still kept a close eye on him. Therefore, these situations are perfectly clear. And that chubby boy is a unique existence in the Tower of Desire. No living being has ever been able to gain so much advantage in the Tower of Desire. Then it should be soon? What? Uncle Zhou looked at Zhou Yun with a puzzled expression, not quite understanding what he meant. Zhou Yun narrowed his eyes slightly. Luck is ethereal and elusive, but it can be depleted. Every time you gain an opportunity through your own luck, a portion of it will be lost, and it can only be slowly recovered over a long period of time. Uncle Zhou's expression changed. He wasn't quite aware of these things. At that moment, Zhou Yun's voice rang in my ears again. However, trying to gain opportunities through luck in the Pengyun space will require even greater expenditure. The Tower of Desire is filled with a strong aura of desire. The other party must be already immersed in desire. The odds of winning should be much lower now. Uncle Zhou took out the management jade plate of Pengyun merchant ship and examined it, his eyes lighting up. Young master, it's true. Their odds of winning have decreased by 30% in the last few hundred years. Yes, you might be able to detect it outside, but it can be affected by the energy of desire. When your own luck is depleted, it will cause a backlash. Uncle Zhou asked, what will happen if there's a backlash from bad luck? Misfortune strikes, desires run rampant, endless lotteries lead to the loss of all the resources earned. Upon hearing this, Uncle Zhou's mouth dropped open slightly. Seeing Uncle Zhou's surprised look, Zhou Yun joked, the benefits of Pengyun space aren't so easy to come by. The other cultivators weren't so lucky, and naturally, they didn't stay in the desire space for very long. Wang Nianzu, who had been winning the lottery, had long been blinded by temptation. One's mind and spirit are corrupted by desires, and one becomes addicted to them. They can no longer easily escape. The most desperate moment will come when their own luck is greatly depleted. Meanwhile, inside the third floor of the Tower of Desire, on the card table where fates clashed, Wang Nianzu's table was surrounded by a multitude of living beings. Have you noticed that the god of gamblers has been winning less often lately? Have you noticed it too? I've done the statistics, and now we can win about 5 out of 10 games. Sigh. I still vividly remember the scene when the opponent first entered the third floor and won 100 consecutive games, which directly established his name as the god of gamblers. Yes, no one dares to fight him. In the third level of space, no one could rival the god of gamblers' reputation. Many challengers have been defeated by him. Sometimes, if no one challenges the third floor, the opponent will move to the fourth floor. Over the years, they have secretly tallied each other's gains. He obtained at least dozens of chaos treasures, hundreds of chaos spiritual treasures, countless innate treasures and treasures below the immortal level. No one in Xiantian could compare to the resources possessed by the other party. Haha, I won. Even the god of gamblers is no match for me. Next. A sound came from ahead, attracting everyone's attention. The god of gamblers has lost again. Their previous guess was correct. Although they didn't know what had happened, the god of gamblers seemed to be in poor condition. Through the grey fog, one could see that Wang Nianzu's eyes were faintly bloodshot and glowed with a faint red light. This is already a manifestation of being influenced by desire. However, due to the grey fog, other living beings could not detect it. If it were an ordinary being, at this point, they would either leave the City of Desire and wait for the energy of desire to dissipate before returning. Alternatively, you can go to Xie and buy a bottle of Tiani True Water to dispel desires. The game at the poker table resumed. After the first game, Wang Nianzu lost again. At this moment, the onlookers began to stir with desire. If the god of gamblers is truly out of form, this might be a good opportunity for them to take advantage. Before they could figure it out, the opportunity had already been seized by other creatures. Because of the god of gamblers' fame, as word spread, more and more creatures gathered here. Some wanted revenge, while others simply wanted to take advantage. As Wang Nianzu played more games, the fear people had of him gradually decreased. Currently, Wang Nianzu can only win 5 out of 10 games. Thank you so much for the gift, I'm so grateful.